Oh,
Hi friends, welcome to this week's class of Dead Funny University. I am your host and fellow student Kelsey, and this is our 11th episode in our Zelda semester. Again, teaching us this semester, if you haven't figured it out by now, I'm not calling you an idiot, I'm just implying that there's plenty of clues for you to figure out who's teaching us. His name's on the screen. It's Chris. You guys know him. There's been 10 other episodes with him teaching in addition in just this semester. So, Chris, you and I have been chatting for an hour and a half now.
yes, we have.
So I ask you this, but I already know. How you doing tonight?
Apparently, it was long overdue. Doing good now.
Good.
We got some venting time in. We got some time to talk about things. You know, hey.
In case anybody's curious, Chris and I are
continue to talk.
Yeah. In case anybody's curious, Chris and I are actually friends, and sometimes when we go to record, we just chat.
It is true. It is true.
We are talking about Majora's Mask, and
Yes.
last time we chatted, you got us through. The first time we chatted, we got through the video. And then a little bit of the plot. And then you've actually jumped really into the plot. And I believe you left off...
We just finished the Skull Kid.
We just finished Skull Kid. So now we are, I think, heading into a temple. Is that correct?
Well, we just walked outside the clock tower.
That's right.
We rewinded the time back. And now we were at the beginning of the clock tower getting ready to move forward. Our last clues were Tail telling us the 4 places, which I believe was swamp, mountains, ocean, and desert, I believe is what it was. So those 4 locations. The ones who were there, bring them here, is exactly what was said. So we are going to the swamp. That's where we're heading. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm super excited because this is one of my favorite temples out of Majora's Mask.
Do we get to make a lot of like get out of my swamp jokes with this? No. We need to.
Just like get out of my palace, because that's what's actually said to you. But
well, I think Shrek would have loved it if his swamp was a palace.
I think he would have too, but I think that would have kind of defeated the story of
yes.
Shrek.
If he'd started with a palace and then got a girl and then got another palace. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he would have gave a shit, about anything else going on. He'd be like, I'm fucking a swamp ogre and I live in a castle. Like, who the fuck is this donkey at my fucking door? Send him away, guards.
That's secretly all of our dreams, is to be a swamp person, but live in a palace and be respected as though we are not swamp people.
Well, I will make a reference here, whether Kelsey gets it or not, but Shrek is love, Shrek is life. So there's that.
Oh, there's a very small bell ringing a very long ways away.
Oh, there's probably a reason why. You probably repressed that memory.
Probably. Seems like a good call.
Yeah, it was. Let's put it this way. I had a boss start at one of my older jobs, and within meeting him in one day, that was the first recommendation I ever gave him. He went, watched it, said that his wife was watching it over his shoulder, and that he would never, ever, ever listen to another recommendation from me again. So that might, kind of help sum it up for you a little bit.
All right, yeah, I don't need to know anymore. I think I'm aware that it exists, and that's all I know.
Oh, it's a YouTube video. You can find it real easy, Kelsey.
I don't need to try. I mean, off that recommendation, I'm not doing it. Nope.
It's there. But anyways, so the swamp that doesn't have the weird ogre in it.
Or the donkey.
Moving on. But yeah, so we need to go and gather what Tail, I keep forgetting which one was which, Tail told us to do. So Link and Tattle have now set off. But the first thing that we end up running into, which I thought was really, really cool, which is a callback to the video that you watched, because I told you make sure you remember that because this is important, is that we end up seeing what was carved into the tree on the way through, just like we did in the video, which is really, really cool. What you see is Skull Kid, and he carved into the tree a picture of him and the 2 fairies.
Yes.
Tattle and Tail. This is where it gives us the story of how the Skull Kid got Majora's Mask, which we've already watched due to the video, so we're not going to go through that again. But for those of you who don't remember, episode 1 of Majora's Mask, which I think was like episode 9 or 10 of the DFU, go back and watch that. and you'll be able to see Kelsey watching the video. It's an amazing fucking video. Very beautiful and very well done.
Yes.
Not Nintendo. But anyways, so we get to see that, and like I said, that kind of leads us up and kind of gives the fans a story as to what they're about to witness in the actual game, which was, I think, a pretty cool way to do that. Because at this point, you actually don't know what the hell's going on. All you know is that you're just trying to figure out what the hell happened. Where's your horse? Da, 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 da. You saw the Skull Kid take your ocarina. You don't really know who he is. So then basically Tattle tells you this entire story about how they met the Skull Kid and how everything was great. And then he got this mask and he started being a dick, so on and so forth. So yeah, you can see that he kind of changed and la da 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 da. So we end up going into the woods. We actually see some familiar faces here. So into the Lost Woods, which we get to hear our Lost Woods music, which is great. We run into the two witches who are supposedly Ganon's mother from the other game. But once again, this is a different timeline. They have nothing to do with that, which technically it's really not. But, hey, plot, right? So, and this are just witches. And one of them is hurt and injured in the forest, and so the other one wants you to go and get this potion and heal her. It's a side quest, so we're not going to go too deep into that.
Are they actually hurt and injured, or are they just faking?
Yeah. No, you actually do help them out.
Okay,
and then they do like this whole little fucking weird boat ride down through the fucking river, the swamp, where you can sit there and take pictures of shit and get points, and it's fucking stupid.
Wasn't there a Pokemon game where you could do that?
There was. Oh my god. That was also terrible. Anyways.
Hey, I loved it. It was like the first video game I ever played, so.
God.
It was the
that just tells me so much about you as a person right there.
No, my friend, my neighbor had it. And I didn't have anything resembling a video game. And so he was like, "Do you want to come over and like take pictures of Pokemon?" And I'm like, "Sure, dude." It was like the most like personal, like the most interaction with my peers that I had.
There's times where I wish I could just go back in time so I could just put a video game in young Kelsey's hands, but I also don't want to be caught doing that and have her parents wonder why there's like a 29-year-old man and they're
handing a video game
trying to get them to play video games. But it's okay. I know her. Okay, like we're friends. All right. Like,
give it like friends. 10 years and it'll be fine. Maybe never say that.
Oh man, I've met both her parents, and your mom loved me, but not enough to excuse that kind of behavior. No. My ass would have been through the window.
Well, easily. That would have been my dad throwing your ass through the window. Mostly my mom would have been like, "This seems inconvenient." Been cheering him on,
like fuck him up.
That's true. Yeah, that's
exactly. Fair. But base point here is Kelsey's parents are lovely, and they love their daughter.
They are. So, they're wonderful, and I love them.
Anyways, so moving on. So we go through the swamp. Like I said, you got that stupid boat ride, which it's kind of important to take it because you can kind of get a lay of the land. So what's important is that whenever you get down the boat ride and you come back, there are these monkeys who stop you, and it's 3 of them, and they're trying to talk to you, and they speak weird. It's kind of like somewhat like Yoda, somewhat not. I don't know. It's weird. But basically, their story is that there is something that's poisoning the water in the swamp. And what you can see whenever you're on the boat ride is like you start out in this blue water and then you start going to this pink water. And they talk about how they play around here a lot. So their big brother of the monkeys wanted to go see what was going on. So he went to the Deku Palace where they're friends with the Deku Princess and wanted to figure out what's going on. They haven't heard back from their brother, and they're worried that because you have to be a Deku to get in there, that maybe he got into some trouble. Obviously, just like everything else in a Zelda game, this is now Link's problem. Yes. So Link is now going to go try to figure out what happened with the older brother monkey, which leads us to where we need to go. So we get all the way up through this swamp, trying to stay out of the water as much as possible. It's a little bit of combinations of both of using Link's normal skills of being able to run, jump, roll, all this fun stuff to getting up to, there's like these mushrooms that have the Deku flowers where you get inside, then it shoots you out, and you use the petal flowers to glide and land into the next one and shoot out and go to the next one and so on and so forth. Yeah. Zelda is really big on puzzles and you having to use as many skills as possible to get from point A to point B to kind of help keep that stuff fresh in your mind, which is pretty cool.
Which I appreciate because sometimes when games teach you a skill and then they never have you use it again for like multiple days in game, so it's like an hour, 3 hours later. I'm like, I don't have a fucking clue what button I was supposed to push to do that. So no,
Exactly.
I prefer the way Zelda does it, and I haven't even played those games.
Yeah, exactly. So, like I said, pretty cool. So we're heading to the Deku Palace, and I made sure to get us some lovely pictures here. Some of them are taken from in game, so and they look the way they look. But that is what the beginning of the Deku Palace looks like. You can kind of see some of the pink water there as it's running underneath the bridge and stuff like that. We got some more pictures here to do more of an overlook, but basically we're walking up and there's two guards that are directly outside, so you have to be careful with them because they will fuck you up if you come walking up looking like Link trying to get in there, because once again only Deku are allowed inside of the palace. What's cool that you'll notice in these pictures is that on the right there's the big monstrosity in the middle, which is the actual palace itself where the Deku King and Princess live. And then to the left and the right are these like little mazes that you have to use your Deku powers to get around to go and get specific things like heart containers to fill up your health and everything else. Just little cool puzzle things that you can kind of do to get stuff. Some of it I don't think is necessary and optional, and some of it's not. I guess the debate could be made whether the heart containers are optional, because the more health you have, the more likely you are to survive from harder enemies later on in the game. So I would recommend going and getting them. But hey, you do you. There's that. But we get inside to the Deku Palace and we get to see all the way off there in the back is the Deku King, and to his left, our right, is the little Deku Butler there. He actually looks pretty cool, but
He's
just to kind of give us
adorable.
right, but just to kind of give us a better look, I did get an actual picture of the majority of the little Dekus who are in here. So we have, like I said, the Deku Butler, the Deku Princess, the Deku King, and then two of the Deku guards.
The Deku Princess does not like her dress.
Yeah,
That face says she does not think this is her color. She is not pleased.
she has a reason to be upset,
Oh.
and here's why. So that's what we first noticed. Then we look over to the left, and what do we see but our fourth monkey brother tied to a pole? And the Dekus are singing a song that they normally sing before a big feast. Yes, they are getting to roast our monkey friend and eat him, or kill him and eat him. And we ask him why. And the reasons why is because the princess is missing, and they think he did it because he showed up looking for the princess. So they think he showed back up to the scene of the crime, acting like nothing ever happened, so on and so forth. And because he's, an outsider, they obviously don't trust him. Yeah.
That's kind of real
So that's
terrible.
where the brother is at. Yeah, just a little bit. So what he wants you to do is to try to get everybody's attention. And basically you try to cut the rope, and you can't cut the rope if you switch and go into Link. They don't see you, but you can't cut the rope. And he's like, basically, I need you to try to get everybody's attention so I can try and plead my case. So you try to play the ocarina, and he's like, the ocarina's not going to work. It's not loud enough. This is where you first use your Deku pipes for the first time. Pull out your Deku pipe. Well, I guess you used it for the Song of Time when you got the ocarina. So I guess that's not exactly true. So you still use the Deku pipes for that. Anyway, it's the second time. Doesn't matter. We use the Deku pipes again. For you, if you've been fucking around with all the different music, this might be your 30th time or your 100th time. Who fucking knows? But do you? We use the pipes. It gets their attention because they're super fucking loud. And basically, the monkey talks about the fact that the princess wanted to get to the bottom of the poison in the swamp water. So she went to the temple. He tried to stop her. She got captured, and now they need to go get her. Obviously, no one believes the monkey. So then they beat the shit out of Link, throw him out because they're like, you're an outsider, even though you look like a Deku. Get the fuck out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And the monkey is now hanging above the fire. So time is of the essence. We got to save the monkey. So, bet you can guess where we went. To the temple. So you keep traveling up a little bit further, and we will see a temple. So now this is where a lot of the cooler background aspect of Zelda is, where unless you're like a mega fan, you don't really like to look into this kind of stuff, is knowing what they took as far as like already exists in the world to come up with these concepts and ideas.
Mhm.
They leaned very heavily on Mayan culture for the Swamp Temple. So as you can kind of see already just from the building itself, it's kind of got that Aztec-ish type style, which is really, really cool. Not too much happens in the temple besides, your normal temple things, puzzles to solve here, enemies to fight there. But what is of note is the boss that we go to fight, which, oh my God. Okay, cool. Thank God I actually put his name on here because I completely forgot what his name was. It's Odolwal. Odolwal. Odolwa. Odolwal, I believe is how you said his name. I listened to someone say it, but once again, it wasn't from Nintendo, so who even knows if they were correct. But they took a lot of inspiration from Aztec warriors to make this character. So the bright, vibrant colors on his mask and his shield, the weapon he actually uses, and you can't really see it that well from this picture, but he's actually wearing a purple cape, which was normally worn by higher ranking members of like the actual Mayan Aztec, society and stuff like that. So he's actually wearing one of those purple capes too, which I thought was pretty cool.
To be the worst person in the entire world, the Mayans and the Aztecs were two completely separate
I
societies.
can't remember which one it was. That's why I
So you're
just
saying
kept saying
both.
both.
Okay.
Yeah.
The first time you switched, I was like, and we're circling back.
Whoever's watching this, I knew would possibly be like, oh, which one was it? And then go look and do the. It was one of them. I don't remember. That's why I'm just saying both because I don't want to tell you Mayans, and then you guys be like,
It was
what
the
did
Aztecs, you absolute
Nintendo pull?
asshole.
Not that, but be like, what did Nintendo pull from Mayan culture? And then come back with Google saying like nothing, you fucking idiot. They didn't pull anything in Mayan culture, and it was like actually Aztecs. And then it'd be like, okay, well, fucking sweet. I can't find this information that Chris was talking about. Either way, it's one of them. I don't remember it. I'm sorry. This is a long time ago when I looked this information up. Anyways, but yeah, so I thought that was really, really cool because they do that with a couple different things in a couple different games. Yeah, and it was just kind of like a little cool feature.
I'm going
So
to guess it was the Aztecs, but continue.
we'll go with Aztecs. So what was actually interesting here is after you beat this boss, you actually get his mask. Now, this is not a wearable mask. This is just like a trophy mask. You can't do anything with this. This is where the biggest debate of Zelda happens, mainly because what Tattle tells you right here. So after you get this mask, you get transported into like this stone in the middle of just this pink, and it's not the poison pink, but it's like this bright pink water all around you, and it's like really foggy and misty, and there's like a waterfall coming down. And you can kind of see like a figure behind the waterfall, but you can't really tell what it is yet.
Mhm.
And then it starts like bellowing out this song, and it's doing these notes. And then it steps forward, and it's this giant. Now, I don't have a picture of the giants, which I'll have to get another one. I know I showed you one earlier. I'll go ahead and pop it in here again just so that way you have it in front of you so you can see what I'm kind of talking about. But basically, like I said, there's these giants. Now, it bellows this song, and it says, when you have need for us, call us and we'll be there, or something like that. As you can see, the giants are kind of basically just a head, and then they have arms coming out of the head, and then long ass legs coming out of it. They're really weird looking, very weird looking. Here's where the interesting part is. To the player, it seems extremely obvious that the four that Tell was talking about was the giant.
Mhm.
Tattle, then when you get inside, makes it seem that it's actually the mask that you need to bring there at the end, because you do use that song that giant sung to bring the giants to where the moon is coming down. So to this day, like Nintendo's never cleared that up because, like I said, the fairy actually says it in the game. So they don't know. Like a lot of players are like, was it just like a red herring to throw it off? Like regardless, you can't do one without the other. They have to both. Like you beat the boss, it automatically takes you there. You don't have the choice to be like, fuck it, I'm not gonna learn the giant song. I'm just gonna take all the fucking mask and go and test this out. So really, in the end, it doesn't matter. But it is interesting that like Link has this perception that the players have of like, okay, cool, we need these giants to progress forward. Where Tattle has this perception of we need to cleanse the spirits of these masks and bring those forward. That's what Tail was talking about. So it's kind of interesting.
Is it inherently one or the other, or can it be? Sorry. is it at all that one is related to the other? Does that question make any sense?
Well, the only reason why they're related is because as soon as you defeat the boss, it takes you to the next giant automatically. You don't have a choice. It's literally just skips you right into the next cutscene.
Okay.
So they're literally directly tied. Like you beat a boss, you get the mask, bam, you're talking to the next giant, bam, you're out of there and moving on to your next thing. Like you have zero option to do one without the other. Like you get them both simultaneously every single time. So that's kind of where that's at. But anyways, so we get teleported back to the beginning of the temple. That's whenever Tail tells us what I was just talking about. And we hear a noise coming from behind us. We turn around, and sure enough, the Deku princess is right behind us in this little cave-ish that they kind of put her in her own little room. And you go in there and you talk to her, and she's kind of upset at her situation, which rightfully so. And then you kind of, help her cut to the chase with the fact that, hey, the longer we sit here and talk, your monkey friend is going to die, which she's livid about, like just absolutely fucking livid about. And super mad that her father is dumb enough to punish a poor innocent monkey just because he doesn't know where his daughter's at. So this is the weird part where she asks you to carry her there. So you put her in a bottle because she is a Deku. Apparently they can fit in whatever they want to. I didn't know that was a thing because you can't do that as a Deku. But you put her in a bottle for safekeeping and you take her all the way back to the palace.
That feels very weird.
To which you then proceed to walk all the way up to the Deku King, look him in the eyes, pull a bottle out, uncork it, and dump his daughter out of the bottle onto the floor, which just looks ridiculous.
This really feels like the animators were like, yeah, I don't want to draw him carrying her. She's gonna fit in the bottles just like the Healy fairies do. We're just gonna recycle that same animation. Like, fuck it.
Which that is the main complaint every player has, is that after you beat a boss, you get a healing container that fills your hearts all the way back up and then gives you another heart on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
So you literally waste a fairy because you have to let it go in order to capture her and take her with you back to the kingdom.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's fair. Guys, princesses are not cheap. Like, they...
Apparently not. Apparently not. So, yeah. So, like I said, basically, we get back there. She goes all out, yelling at her dad, extremely pissed off that, he was dumb enough to do this to the monkey and stuff like that. Ends up knocking him down, jumps up and down on him, causing him stupid fall, all that fun stuff. Then starts yelling at all the guards around, being like, what the hell are you doing? Get the monkey down. I'm not going to tell you twice. Like, very easy to see who actually rules the kingdom here. So, yeah, she was pretty pissed off.
It's the one that fits in a bottle. That's just intelligent.
Yeah, the one that fits in a bottle. There you go. That king has that gigantic head in that hat, but apparently there ain't nothing in there. So, yeah. So the princess, which I actually liked a lot as a character, she was super fucking cool, ends up helping you save the monkey. And basically at this point, you have now completed the swamp. You've completed the forest temple. There is no more poison in the water. Once you killed that boss, all the poison stopped. He was the main thing behind the poison, which, makes sense because that's like every fucking game. And, you save the monkey and you save the princess and everything is right with the world. So, yeah.
Now, if this game was made today, my guess is this process of going and saving the monkey or saving the princess, which therefore saves the monkey, would, in the end cutscene, you would then have the Dekus on your side because, you completed a loyalty mission for the Dekus, and then you'd have the monkeys on your side because you completed a loyalty mission for the monkeys, and isn't this great? You now have allies. Does anything like that happen in these games, or is it just like,
No.
You helped us, thanks, fuck off?
No, because, if you still walk in there as Link, they throw you out.
Excuse
if you fuck around too much as Deku Link, they still throw you out. Yeah, no, that stuff doesn't happen. And this game has been remade for the Nintendo 3DS, as we talked about, and it's still like that as well. So
he saved their princess, and they're still like, get the fuck out.
Even in the newest Link that came out, which is an amazing fucking game, which if there was ever a chance of me getting you to sit down and play as Zelda, that would be the one I would start you out with. Not only because it's the newest one and the graphics are fucking breathtaking, but in my opinion, it's a game that's really like your style, like right up your alley, because it's not so linear. Like there's a clear mission and stuff that you need to do that mission, but a lot of it is exploration. and being able to uncover the map and see all these new areas.
Yes.
And it's got that RPG style to where it's not like, cool, you're Link, you now have this shitty sword and shitty shield until you get your Master Sword and your Hylian shield, like you're going to get every single fucking time. Like, you actually burn through weapons in this game. So you can kill enemies and pick up like their stick weapons or their stone weapons and use those and stuff like that too, which is really, really cool. And they went really deep into giving like each race like a really detailed, like, this is what's going on, these are the people who are directly involved, like it's really fucking cool. Like it's not one of these like, you're going to this town and you're doing this. It's like, you got to go take care of this because so and so tried to do this before and all this other shit. It's a really awesome game, and it's the longest one out of the Zeldas. And like I said, it was so good and people loved it so much. I mean, like I said, this is the first time we're getting a direct titled sequel to a Zelda game, which is going to be Breath of the Wild too. So pretty excited for that. I don't have a release date on that because Nintendo doesn't have a release date on that, but hopefully soon because that first one was really fucking good.
I really want to play it. I haven't done so yet, but I really want to play Breath of the Wild. A friend of
You
mine.
have a Switch?
No, I don't have a Switch, which is the reason I haven't
Okay.
played Breath of the Wild. But
Makes sense.
somebody said something about it being released on the Wii U, but it wasn't as good.
I think they did it backwards just so that way
Yeah.
people who didn't want to have to get a Switch could do it. But yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah.
The graphics weren't there. The Switch, what the Switch is able to do is actually, I think a lot of people don't give the Switch enough credit. The Switch, what the Switch can do for a handheld console that is actually considered a stationary console is fucking mind-blowing. I've always been a fan of Nintendo. I've never been a fan that a lot of major titles, like Zelda for one, had games that came out on handheld systems, because I don't view handheld systems of being real video games. I don't. Because usually they're a lot more cartoony, they're a lot more kid-friendly, which is great. That's their target audience. I was never their target audience, which is fine. I understand that. That's business. I'm not down on them for it. But in order for me to be a completionist and actually play the entire Legend of Zelda series, I now have to get these systems, which cost a lot of money, get these games, which cost a lot of money, for a game that literally is crucial to a story that realistically is going to take me like 4 hours to beat. It's not worth my time. To where something like Breath of the Wild took me a couple days to actually get, more than that. I mean, obviously I wasn't playing it every single day, but whenever I started getting closer to the end, I started like really honing in and focusing, and I was playing that fucking thing every fucking day trying to get to the end of it. Yep. So, like I said, to me, I don't really view handheld systems and handheld games on the same level as console systems and console games. And what Nintendo did for us with the Switch, in my opinion, is they gave you a console system with console games that, for people who are on the go or like to travel or whatever, now have an option to play console level games on the go. And that, in my opinion, is the best alternative. Yeah. Crazy, and I love it. I love my Switch. Yeah.
Yeah. One of my friends, when she was in labor, she saved Breath of the Wild because she was having a great time playing it. And then when she was in labor, she's like, this will distract me from labor long enough so we can wait until I get there. Turns out she ended up having a 30-minute labor from the first, like, oh no, we're actually in labor, to baby coming out, like 30 minutes. And
she had a great plan. I was with her on it. She had a great plan.
No, she had a great plan. She just didn't realize that her body was going to be like, and squeeze.
No, it's time. Yep. It is time. It is time. Yeah.
But that's she fair. Had a plan. So she ended up playing while baby was a potato. When baby wasn't feeding, but baby wasn't conscious. She was just potato. She could play Switch. I was like, that works.
I will say I have done that with the Switch a couple times because it's very easy to just rest my daughter right there and then have that handheld system just like right here, and then I can just fucking do what I got to do. Yep. I've even done the whole dad thing where it's like you fucking balance the bottle a little bit like this whenever you're trying to fucking finish something right quick. Because for those of you who don't have kids and don't know, your kid is not going to wait for you. That's not going to happen. If you think your kid's going to be like, wah, I'm hungry, and you be like, 1 second, let me finish this level. That is not how that works. It's not even close to how that works. Your kid is going to scream and cry directly in your face. They don't care what you have to say. They don't care any kind of cool baby noises you make. They don't care. They literally do not give a single shit until that bottle is in their mouth. I mean, I see it with my daughter all the time. I mean, it is literally 0 to 100. And then the moment that first little bit of formula hits that tongue, she's fine. Boom. Done. Like, you won't make a peep. Won't make a fucking peep. And you're just like, That was so unnecessary. That was
No,
just so unnecessary.
you
Like,
gotta give her
that's
points. She is a
yeah,
couple months old and she has already figured out, like, I tell him what I want, I am clear and direct, and he gives it
she
to
does.
me, and then I don't need to bitch at him, I don't need to be spiteful, we're done.
She does.
And I
She
mean,
does.
that's a good quality. If all of us as adults had that level of clarity, that would be good. In her, I mean, in other people's defense, she's not necessarily clear. We assume that she's happy because she shuts up when you give her the bottle, but
Yeah.
still.
She's getting to that point where she's getting a little bit more sassy with me. I've definitely
Mm.
started to notice that, which I knew that was going to happen sooner or later.
Yeah, I was gonna
Let's
say,
be honest.
guaranteed.
But something that you'll appreciate because you've watched the show. We were actually talking about this on the last podcast, Silicon Valley, when they play that game with the ball where they're like, always blue, always blue, always blue. And then whenever it lands and it's yellow, it's like, oh, we lost.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, her diaper has a yellow strip. And whenever she pees in it, it turns blue. So whenever I go to change her diaper, I do that with her. I'll just be like, always blue. Oh, wait. I'm not throwing my daughter up, obviously. But I'm like, always blue, always blue, always blue. And it keeps her calm and she's laughing and giggling and stuff. And I put her down. And the other day I was doing it and she's laughing and just going along because I'm singing the song. I was like, always blue, always blue. And I'm getting her onesie off. And then I was all like, stink butt. And it went from like a smile to the fuck did you just call me? Like instantly. Like her brain registered that was not a part of the normal like daddy cheery voice that was going on.
Mm-hmm.
It went to, oh my God, stink butt. And she was like,
how dare you?
I was like, stop looking at me like that.
I frowned at a baby for the first time once. She was frowning at me, and so I frowned back, and she's like, the look of horror and just aghast shock of how dare I frown at her, and I am the ugliest, most horrible thing in the world. Oh my God! And I was like, you started it, you
brat. That's hilarious. That's funny.
So that tangent is going to end it for our 11th class on Zelda.
Yeah.
If you've enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. It is always helpful to us. And then turn on the notifications so you know when to come to class. We have Twitter and Twitch links below because several of us go and we play games where you can come and you can hang out with us and we will talk to you about games like Always Blue. And we'd love to interact with you there. Also, if you have any requests for things that you'd like us to cover in a Dead Funny University, please feel free to throw that down there as well. We are taking requests. Not a guarantee because we may not have an expert, but if we can find one, we'd absolutely be happy to fulfill your requests.
Games, shows, movies, comics, anything.
Yes, any of that. So,
any of it.
But we will see you in our next class of Dead Funny University. Bye, friends.